everybody, my name is Holly. Welcome to today's yoga. This is going to be another short flow, and today we're going to be focusing on a healthy spine. So we're going to be doing lots of twists. If you sit down all day at a desk, this is probably going to be a good practice for you. So twists help us to lengthen and stretch the muscles of the spine. So we're going to start today in a seated position, sitting on our heels. You can use a block to make this more comfortable, so you can just place it underneath the sitting bones just to help elevate the hips and take the strain out of the knees and the ankles. Or if that's really uncomfortable for you, just come into a cross-legged position. We're just going to take a few moments here just to settle ourselves into our practice. You can close the eyes, lower the gaze. You can rest your hands wherever is comfortable. Letting the shoulders drop down away from the ears. And start to bring the focus inwards. Bringing our attentions to our breath. So taking a full deep inhale through the nose. Pausing at the top of that breath. And then exhaling fully. And just taking a few more rounds of breath like this. Just trying to quiet the mind, letting go of any thoughts. And then from here, we'll start to move into our practice. So we're going to bring our left hand to the outside of our right knee and our right fingertips behind us, taking an inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to move into a twist. So turning our chest over to the right. If your fingertips don't quite make it to the floor, you can bring them onto the lower back. And if it's okay for your neck, you can take your gaze over the right shoulder. Drawing that belly in towards the spine so we can twist a little bit deeper. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, bringing that chest back through to center. So we'll bring our right hand to the outside of our left knee, left fingertips either behind us, on the floor or on the lower back. Taking an inhale here, lift and lengthen. As we exhale, taking that twist over to the left. Taking that gaze wherever is comfortable for you. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, bringing our chest back through the center. So we'll do a little bit of a toe stretch here. So tucking our toes under, sitting on our heels, stretching down the soles of the feet. I'll turn to the side so that you can see me. So for some people, this can be really, really uncomfortable, but it is a nice stretch to do. On an inhale, we're going to circle our arms up towards the ceiling, interlacing the fingers and pushing the palms away from us. Just stretching through the arms, through the shoulders. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, releasing the hands down, and we'll come into our cat-cow. So our shoulders, our wrists directly under the shoulders, our knees underneath the hips, and we'll move through some cat-cow. So on an inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone, belly drops, chest comes forward, gaze is forward. As we exhale, we're going to round and contract, chin to chest. Inhale and dropping the belly, tailbone lifts. Exhale to round and contract. And two more in your own breath. Just warming up the spine here. And after your final go round, just come into a flat back. On an inhale, we're going to take our right arm up towards the ceiling, stretching across the chest here. And as we exhale, we're going to thread the needle, so we're going to bring this right arm behind the left wrist, coming onto the right shoulder and right ear, making sure our hips stay over the knees, opening up into that right shoulder blade, maybe pressing down through the left palm of the hand here. And we'll release from here. So on an inhale, we're going to take that right arm up towards the ceiling, stretching across the chest. And as we exhale, coming back down into our tabletop. We'll move into the opposite side. On an inhale, taking our left arm up towards the ceiling, stretching across the chest. As we exhale, thread the needle, So coming down onto our left shoulder, left ear, maybe pressing down through that right palm of the hand, opening up into that left shoulder blade. Releasing from here on an inhale. We're going to take that left hand up towards the ceiling, stretching across the chest. Exhale, back down into our tabletop. So we're going to lift, we're going to keep a bend into this right knee and lift the knee up at hip height. We're going to bring this right knee out to the side, and then we're going to step this right foot in between the hands, coming into a low lunge here, placing the left palm of the hand down as we take the right arm up towards the ceiling, coming into our easy twist. So stretching across the chest here, maybe taking our gaze up to the top hand. Feeling a little bit of a stretch down the front of the left thigh here. Taking one more inhale here as we exhale, releasing that right arm down, and then taking the right leg back, so we're back in our tabletop. We'll do that the opposite side, so keeping a bend into the left leg, bringing that knee up at hip height, out to the side, and then stepping this left foot through, coming into our low lunge, taking our right palm of the hand down onto the mat, reaching left arm up, coming into our easy twist. Maybe taking our gaze up to the left hand. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to bring this left hand down, taking this left foot back into our tabletop pose. So making sure our hands are shoulder width distance apart, our feet are hip width distance apart, tucking the toes. On an exhale, we're going to send those hips high into our first downward facing dog. So don't worry if you need to keep a bend in the knees here and the heels are lifted, that's fine. You might want to pedal out the feet, so taking one heel down to the mat, bending into the opposite knee, just lengthening down the backs of the legs. We're looking for length in the spine here, so a nice flat back. Nice straight line from the wrist all the way up to the tailbone. Holding no tension in the neck here, taking our gaze towards the feet. And then coming into some stillness with the legs for the last breath. And then on our next inhale, taking a bend into both knees, gaze towards the top of the mat as we start to walk our feet up towards the hands, coming into our Ragdoll Fold here. So feet are hip width distance apart, just letting those fingertips dangle down to the mat, or maybe taking your hands into opposite crooks of the elbows. Just folding down over the legs here, maybe keeping a bend in the knees. You can lay your chest down across the thighs. You might want to sway gently from side to side here, lengthening all the way down the back of the body. And then from here we'll start to roll up into standing. So keeping a bend in the knees, pressing through the heels and slowly rolling all the way up the spine. Bringing our shoulders up in line with the ears and then rolling them back and down. So we're in our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Our palms of the hands are facing forward, lengthening that tailbone down as that crown of the head is lifted. On an inhale, we're going to circle our arms up towards the ceiling, palms be overhead. So we're going to interlace the fingers and we're going to point the index finger and thumb coming into pistol grip. Taking an inhale, lifting up on the waist. As we exhale, taking a side bend over to the right, lengthening down the side, left side of the body. Inhaling back through to centre. Exhaling, side bend over to the left, stretching into the right side of the body here. Inhaling back through to centre. Exhaling, bringing those palms down through heart centre, and we'll move through our flow. On an inhale, circling our arms up towards the ceiling, palms be overhead. Exhaling, bringing those hands out wide as we dive down into our forward fold. Inhaling into our flat back, our half lift, so palms onto shins or fingertips can stay on the mat, reaching that crown of the head away from the tailbone. Exhaling back into our forward fold, placing the hands down, stepping back into our plank pose. Wrists are directly under the shoulders, core is engaged. You can bring your knees down for support if you want to. On an exhale, we're going to bend at the elbows and lower all the way down to the mat here. Untucking those toes when we get there. Inhaling into our Cobra, so lifting the chest, keeping those elbows in towards the ribs, shoulders are down away from the ears, stretching down the front of the abdomen. Exhaling to lower. Tucking those toes, pushing into the hands, bringing hips back towards the heels and coming into downward facing dog. On our next inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, bringing this right knee in towards the nose as the weight comes over the wrist, stepping this right foot in between the hands. We're going to lift into our high lunge, so back toes are tucked, back knee is lifted, lifting the chest, reaching those arms up towards the ceiling, shoulder width distance apart. So squaring off the hips here, so feel like you're pulling right hip back as the left hip falls forward, chest and gaze is forward here. Making sure that right knee is directly over the ankle. On an exhale, we're going to bring our palms together and down through heart center and move into our twist. So lifting out to the waist here on an inhale. On an exhale, we're going to bring our left elbow onto the outside of the right knee, coming into our twist. So squeezing those palms of the hands together and trying to get them through to heart center. Trying not to rest the belly onto the thighs, so drawing the belly in towards the spine. If this is too much, you can just turn your chest to the right. Maybe taking your gaze over this right elbow. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to release the hands down to the inside of the right foot. We're going to turn our body to the long edge of the mat, coming into a wide-legged fold here. So our toes are pointed to the long edge of the mat. Crown of the head is reaching towards the mat. Lengthening down the back of the legs. And then straightening into the arms, we're going to come into our flat back. We're going to bring our left palm of the hands roughly to the middle of the mat, and we're going to bring our right hand onto the lower back. Inhaling, we're going to peel this right shoulder back, and we're going to come into our twist here. So we can bring our right arm up towards the ceiling, or you can keep that hand on the lower back. Maybe taking that gaze up to the top hand. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to bring the right hand down, place it where the left hand was, and then bringing the left palm onto the lower back, peeling that left shoulder back, maybe taking that left hand up towards the ceiling, gazing towards that left hand. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, releasing that left hand down, bringing our hands onto our hips. On an inhale, pressing with the feet, little bend into the knees, lifting the chest. We're going to step to the top of the mat here, coming into our chair pose. So bringing big toes together, heels slightly apart, bending into the knees and reaching our arms up overhead. Try not to arch through the lower back here. So lengthening that tailbone down, pressing into the heels. Knees and thighs are hugging in towards each other. Gaze is up towards the hands. On our next inhale, we're going to straighten into our legs and we're going to bring our right knee in towards the chest. Catching a hold of the knee with this left hand, bringing our right arm out behind us, coming into another twist. Maybe taking our gaze towards this back hand, but don't worry if you need to keep your sight on a spot that isn't going to move. If you're working on carpet, your balance might be a bit off. Breathing strong in that standing leg. Drawing that left kneecap up, engaging that left quad. On our next inhale, we're going to bring our chest back around to center and releasing that right leg down. We'll move through a flow. Inhaling, circling our arms up towards the ceiling, palms meet overhead. Exhaling, diving down, coming into our forward fold. Inhaling into our half lift on flat back. Exhaling to lower. Stepping back into plank. Exhaling, bending at the elbows, lowering all the way down, or chaturanga if you want to. Inhaling into Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to lower, tucking those toes, making our way into downward facing dog here. On our next inhale, we can reach our left leg up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, bringing that left knee in towards the nose, weight comes over the wrist, stepping that left foot through, coming up into our high lunge. So back knee is lifted, back toes are tucked. Hands shoulder width distance apart. Gaze is forward, squaring off the hips here. On our next exhale, bringing our palms together down through heart center, we're going to move into our prayer twist. So taking an inhale here, lifting out of the waist. As we exhale, we're bringing our right elbow to the outside of the left knee, taking our twist over to the left. So squeezing those palms together, trying to get them through to heart center. Maybe taking our gaze over this left elbow. Drawing that belly in towards the spine here. On our next exhale, we're going to bring our hands down to the inside of the left foot, turn into the long edge of the mat. This time, we're bringing heels in, toes out, bending into the knees, coming into our goddess or temple pose here. Bringing our hands onto our thighs, we're going to move into a little bit of a twist. So on an exhale, we're going to dip the left shoulder down, so we take our gaze over the right shoulder. Inhaling that chest through to center. Exhaling, right shoulder down, taking our gaze over the left. Inhaling through to center. One more time. Exhaling, left shoulder down. Inhaling through to center. Exhaling, right shoulder down. Inhaling through to center. On our next inhale, straightening into both legs and step into the top of the mat. Coming into our chair pose, so big toes together, heels apart, bending into the knees. Reaching those arms up overhead. Gaze is towards the fingers, pressing into the heels. Finding length in the spine here. On our next inhale, straightening in to the legs as we bring our left knee in towards the chest, holding on with the right hand, taking left arm behind us, coming into a twist. Maybe taking our gaze over this backhand or focusing on something to help you stay grounded. Then strong in that standing leg. On our next inhale, bringing our chest back through to center, releasing this left leg down. We'll move through our flow. Inhaling, circling our arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bringing those hands out wide as we dive down over the body. Inhaling into our flat back, our half lift. Exhaling to lower, stepping back into plank. Bending at the elbows, lowering halfway or all the way down. Inhaling into Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to lower, making our way into downward facing dog here. And then walking our hands back towards our heels, coming into another forward fold. From here, we're going to take it into a twist. So we're going to start to bend into this right knee as we keep the left leg straight. We're going to place our left hand onto the floor. You might want to use a block so you can stay a little bit more lifted. Bringing our hands, right hand onto the lower back, or maybe taking that right arm up towards the ceiling, coming into a twist. So lengthening down the straight leg here. Maybe gazes up to the top hand. On our next exhale, releasing this right hand down, we'll twist to the other side. So this time straightening into the right leg, bending into the left knee, placing right hand onto the mat or onto the block and bringing our left hand onto the lower back, turning towards that bent leg, maybe taking left arm up towards the ceiling. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, releasing the left hand down and then walking our hands out. So we're in our downward facing dog and then rippling forward into plank pose, bending at the elbows, lowering all the way down. Coming onto the tops of the feet here, bringing our arms down along beside us. Either palms can face in towards the body, or you can interlace the fingers behind the lower back. If your fingers are interlaced, drawing those shoulder blades together. On an inhale, we're going to start to lift the chest and lift the head. Maybe you can take those hands off the lower back or keep them on the lower back if you prefer. Try not to arch the neck, so just keep the gaze down towards the mat, finding length in the spine here. Exhaling to lower. This time we're going to go again. On an inhale, we're going to lift the chest, lift the head, maybe lifting the arms. And if you want to, you can start to lift the feet, but try and draw the legs in towards each other. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, releasing down. We're going to push, bring our hands underneath our shoulders, pushing our hips up so we come back to sitting on our heels. And we'll just move into a little twist that we did earlier. So just bringing left hand onto right knee, right fingertips behind us. Just releasing the spine here. Inhaling back through to center. Right hand onto left knee, left fingertips behind us. Inhaling back through to center. Then coming onto our sit bones, we're going to move into boat pose. So we're going to bend into the knees and we're going to hold on to the backs of the thighs. And we're going to rock a little bit on the sit bones so we find a spot that helps the feet stay lifted off the mat. Trying to find length in the spine here, so reaching that crown of the head up. If you're feeling okay here, you might want to bring the shins in line with the knees. Maybe pushing to the heels, drawing those toes back towards you. Whatever you prefer to do with the feet here, you can point the toes if you want to. Finding a little bit of core engagement. And then if you want to, maybe you can bring the arms out at shoulder height here. Maybe you can reach them up overhead. Maybe you can straighten into the legs and come into full boat pose. This is half boat. Drawing those shoulders back, making sure you're not rounding through the spine here. Taking one more inhale here. As we exhale, releasing the legs down. And then scooting your sitting bones forward so you've got enough room behind you to lay down. Keeping a bend in the knees, feet on the mat, arms out long in front of us. And on an exhale, start to roll all the way down the spine, slowly with control. And then bring in our left leg out long, bringing right knee in towards the chest, holding on to the top of that knee, drawing a little bit closer in towards the chest, lengthening down the front of that left thigh. And from here we'll move it into a little bit of a twist. So we can bring our right arm out at shoulder height or cactus the arms if you don't have the room, like me. Taking an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to bring this right knee across the body, coming into a twist. So bringing this right knee towards the floor. Maybe you want to use a block and stack it underneath that right knee,
or just keep your hand rested on top of the right knee and bringing it down towards the floor, stacking those hips. If you find this too much, just come back to center and then bring both knees in towards the chest and take both knees down to the left instead. So gaze can stay up towards the ceiling, or you can keep the gaze over to the right, making sure that right shoulder stays down. On an inhale, we're going to come back through to center. So bringing right knee back in towards the chest. Bringing that right leg out long. This time, bringing left knee in, holding on with both hands, drawing that knee closer towards the chest. And from here, we'll take it into a twist. So bringing left arm either straight out at shoulder height or bend into the elbow, taking cactus arms, taking an inhale here. On an exhale, bringing this left knee across the body, making sure that you've got enough room. Making any adjustments you need to with the knee, so maybe placing a block underneath, keeping your gaze either up towards the ceiling, or you can take your gaze down towards the left. On our next inhale, we're coming back through to center. And then bringing the right knee in to meet the left knee, wrapping our arms around our shins, bringing our nose towards our knee, squeezing ourselves into a little ball. And then releasing our head and shoulders back down. From here, you can hit pause and go into Shavasana. Otherwise, if you want to hold on to the backs of the thighs, we're going to rock up and down the spine until we can come into a seated position. So maybe cross-legged, maybe sitting on the heels. Bringing our hands wherever is comfortable. Just taking a few moments here. Having a quick scan through the body. Noticing how you're feeling. On an inhale, circling our arms up towards the ceiling, palms meet overhead and bringing them down through heart center. Bowing forehead to fingertips. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this quick flow. See you next time. Bye.